You ever had a stranger bang on your door like they own the place? Well, imagine you've just moved into your dream cabin, a little slice of heaven, tall pines swaying outside, the kind of air you can actually taste because it's so fresh. And before you've even finished unpacking your first box, there's this angry pounding at the door. I open it, still holding a coffee in one hand, and there's 3 people standing there. Clipboards. Matching polos. One guy's got sunglasses on even though it's cloudy. And the woman in the middle, clearly in charge, says, in this slow, patronizing voice, "You're not allowed to be here." I blink. "Excuse me?" She hands me a printed notice like she's serving me legal papers. Violation of HOA covenant. Section blah blah blah. She tells me I've built, get this, a non-compliant structure on their land, and that I have 30 days to vacate. Now, I've been here less than a week. I don't know these people. I didn't even know there was a homeowners association anywhere near here. And the best part, they have no idea I'm actually their landlord. And hey, before I tell you exactly how I turned the tables on them, and trust me, it's delicious, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment with your worst HOA horror story, and subscribe so you don't miss the next revenge tale. You know that feeling when you've been running on fumes for years, and suddenly, you see a way out? That was me. I'd been grinding in the city for over a decade, same apartment, same commute, same fluorescent lights in the office. Every weekday felt like I was living on repeat. I'd get home, collapse on the couch, stare at the ceiling, and think, is this it? The only thing keeping me sane was my weekend escapes. I'd hop in the truck Friday night and head for the mountains. Didn't matter if it was raining, snowing, or one of those perfect, crisp fall days. I just needed that smell of pine, the sound of gravel under my boots, the way the air actually felt like it was cleaning my lungs out. Then one Saturday, I'm sipping coffee in this tiny diner in a little mountain town, and I see it, a real estate flyer pinned to the bulletin board by the register. A log cabin. 5 acres. Private well. No neighbors close enough to hear you sneeze. I thought, yeah, right. That's the kind of place rich people buy as a vacation home. But something made me pull that flyer down. I called the number. Next thing I know, I'm walking through this cabin, and man, it hit me like a gut punch. The floors creaked just enough to feel homey. The windows framed the treeline like a painting. And outside? The wind moved through the pines in that slow, whispery way that makes you forget there's such a thing as email. I made an offer that same week. Didn't even hesitate. When the paperwork came through, I noticed something weird buried in the legal stuff, a little strip of land that stretched way past my property line, right into a nearby subdivision. Realtor said it was just leftover from an old boundary line. The HOA leased it for $1 a year. At the time, I laughed. Figured it was just a quirky footnote in the deal. Turns out, that quirky little detail was the loaded gun sitting quietly in the first act of my story. And the HOA? Oh, they were about to pull the trigger for me. It was maybe day 5 in the cabin. I was still in that sweet, messy stage of moving in, half my stuff in boxes, the rest scattered around like a yard sale exploded. I had the coffee pot set up though, and honestly, that's all that mattered. It was one of those mornings where the fog hangs low between the trees. Quiet enough you can hear your own footsteps on the porch. I'd just sat down with my first cup when, bam, bam bam, someone starts hammering on my front door like the place is on fire. I'm thinking, what the hell? Nobody knows I'm here. Not yet. I open the door, and there they are. 3 strangers. Matching navy polos, clipboards in hand. 2 women, 1 guy. The woman in front, the obvious boss, has this sharp, clipped smile that doesn't touch her eyes. She looks me up and down like she's inspecting a stray dog that wandered onto her lawn. She doesn't even say hello. Just launches right in, "You can't have this here. It's a violation of HOA covenant section." She rattles off some legal-sounding nonsense, flips her clipboard around to show me a printed form with my address, my new address, in bold letters. I cut her off. Sorry, who are you?" She looks at me like I just asked her if water's wet. "We're the homeowners association for this area." This structure isn't compliant, and you have 30 days to remove it or face fines. Now, I'm standing there in flannel pajama pants, holding coffee, staring at these people who apparently think my cabin is what? An illegal shed. I try to explain, I'm not in your subdivision. This isn't HOA property. That's when she gives me the look. You know the one, that smug, slow blink people do when they think they're the smartest person in the room. And she says, "Oh, honey, you don't understand how this works." And just like that, the whole tone shifted. My morning coffee tasted a little different after that, more bitter. Because even though I didn't know it yet, that sentence? That was the opening shot in a war they were never gonna win. I wish I could tell you that first visit was the end of it. That maybe they went back, double-checked their maps, and realized, oh hey, we messed up, this cabin guy isn't even in our HOA. But nope, over the next 2 weeks, they came at me like a wasp nest I'd accidentally kicked. First it was another knock. Then a tape notice on my door. Then a certified letter I had to sign for, all of them filled with that same official-sounding garbage about violations and daily accruing fines. One morning, I walk out to head into town, and there's a bright yellow envelope tucked under my windshield wiper. A final warning. Final warning for what, exactly? Living in my own house, it got almost comical after a while. They cited me for unapproved fencing. I didn't even have a fence. They hit me for excessive lawn ornaments. Unless you count one bird bath and a half-dead geranium, I was pretty minimalist. The best one? Improper paint color. My cabin is literally unpainted logs, and it wasn't just the letters. They started parking out front like they were monitoring me. I'd be splitting firewood, and I'd see them down the road, peeking over clipboards like they were waiting to catch me in the act of what? Existing. Finally, I ran into a guy who lived about a mile away, old-timer, salt and pepper beard, chewing on a toothpick. When I asked him about the HOA, he snorted so hard I thought he'd choke. "Oh, those clowns," he said. "They've been running folks off for years. My buddy got fined for having his truck parked in his own driveway. They just like control. Power trip." That's when something clicked in my head. I wasn't just dealing with some paperwork mistake. This was their thing. They pushed people around for fun, and that's when I decided this wasn't going to be a try to make them stop situation. No. I was going to make them wish they'd never even heard my name. It was one of those nights where the air outside is so still, you can hear the clock ticking in the other room. I couldn't sleep. My head was still buzzing from the day, another notice shoved in my mailbox, another smug signature from Linda, their queen bee. I sat at the kitchen table, the only light coming from that little lamp in the corner, and started pulling out my closing paperwork. The big, fat folder the realtor had handed me months ago. I hadn't looked at it since moving in. At first, I was just flipping through, thinking maybe there was something in there I could wave in their face to prove I was outside their jurisdiction. You know, like, look, I'm not yours to boss around. And then I saw it, buried about 20 pages deep, right after the property survey, was that oddball detail I'd half forgotten about, a narrow strip of land extending out from my property like a little tail. The one the realtor had called just leftover from an old boundary line. Only now, staring at the parcel number, I realized something. That strip? It ran straight into their subdivision. Right into what they proudly called their common area. I pulled up the county's online GIS map, one of those satellite image things where you can see all the property lines. Zoomed in. My eyes kept darting from the survey in my lap to the map on my screen, and there it was. No mistaking it, their fancy HOA sign? On my land. Their community garden? On my land. Their little clubhouse where they held all their meetings and plotted new ways to annoy people? Dead center on my land. I sat back in my chair and just laughed. Not a polite chuckle. One of those slow building, oh ho ho they have. No idea laughs, because here's the thing, that parcel wasn't a gift. It wasn't common land. It was leased. From the original owner. And now, from me, and leases can end. I called a real estate attorney the next morning. Explained the situation. The man actually laughed, the kind of deep belly laugh that tells you you've just handed him his favorite case of the month. He confirmed everything. Yes, I owned the parcel. Yes, the HOA's improvements were on my property. Yes, I could legally revoke their lease with proper notice. We drafted a letter that same day. Not a threat. Not a, please stop bothering me. Just a formal notice, effective immediately. The lease on parcel #is terminated. All HOA operations and improvements must be removed from the premises within 30 days. We send it certified mail to the HOA president, Linda. 3 days. That's all it took. I'm making breakfast, bacon popping in the pan, coffee brewing, when I hear tires crunching way too fast up my gravel driveway. No one drives up here unless they mean business. I peek out the window, and there she is. Linda. No sunglasses this time. Her hair's pulled back so tight it looks painful, and she's gripping a manila envelope like it's about to bite her. She doesn't knock. She pounds. The kind of pounding that makes your doorframe shudder. I open the door, calm as a summer lake. Morning. She holds the letter up like she's brandishing evidence at a trial. What is this? She demands, her voice pitched somewhere between outrage and panic. I sip my coffee before answering. That's notice your lease is terminated. You've got 30 days to clear your stuff off my land. Her eyes go wide. Your land? This is community property. I can't help it, I laugh. Check the parcel number. You've been leasing it for $1 a year from the previous owner. Now you're leasing it from me. Well, you were. She sputters. She actually sputters. You can't do this. Oh, I say, leaning against the doorframe, but I can. And I am. That's when the real panic set in. She starts talking fast, something about tens of thousands in HOA investments, the good of the community, how this will destroy property values. I just let her run out of steam. Then I hit her with her own words from our first meeting. Oh, honey, you don't understand how this works. Her jaw tightened so hard I thought she might crack a tooth. She turned on her heel, stomped back to her car, and peeled out so fast she kicked up half my driveway in dust, and I knew that was just round one. The next month was chaos for them. HOA meetings turned into shouting matches. They tried to fight it legally, and lost. Their budget took a massive hit because now they had to find a new space for their clubhouse and redo their landscaping somewhere else. Meanwhile, I leased that same parcel to a local farmer who parked a row of beehives there. He pays me way more than $1 a year, and the bees? Let's just say the HOA members suddenly didn't love walking their dogs past the common area anymore. By the end of the year, the HOA was a shadow of itself. Linda retired from the board. No more surprise visits to my cabin. No more petty letters. Just a peace, and the best part? Every time I drive past that old spot, I see the bees buzzing around and think, they really should have read the property lines. This whole mess taught me something big. Some people get so used to pushing others around, they never stop to consider. They might be picking a fight with the wrong person. And when they finally meet someone who won't be bullied, that's when they learn the hard way that power isn't always where they think it is. So yeah, that's how the HOA tried to evict me from my own land and ended up getting evicted themselves. If you enjoyed that little slice of petty justice, hit the like button, tell me in the comments if you've ever had to deal with a nightmare HOA, and subscribe so you're here for the next story, because trust me, the mountains might be peaceful, but the drama? Oh, it finds you.